So China issued a white paper on Tuesday detailing its stance on nuclear safety. Well, while many countries are hesitant to build new nuclear plants following the 2011 Fukushima nuclear disaster in Japan, China has opted to pursue that development. According to the white paper, China's nuclear industry is evolving in line with the latest safety standards and maintains a good safety record. But with an ever-growing demand for energy, coupled with concerns over its safety, why is China choosing the nuclear option? And how could China ensure the safety of its nuclear industry? Well, joining me for the discussion are Liu Senlin, Chief Scientist at the China Institute of Atomic Energy, Dr. Liu Chong, Associate Professor and Deputy Director of the Institute of Arms Control and Security Studies at the China Institute of Contemporary International Relations, and the one and only Einar Tangen, Current Affairs Commentator. Your title's a lot shorter than the others. They've got these huge long titles.
Well, they know what they're talking about.
Indeed. Let's start with you, Liu Chong, if I may. The white paper, titled Nuclear Safety in China, is China's first ever nuclear safety white paper. Why has it taken this long to produce one?
Yeah, you are right. It's the first kind of this kind of white paper, and China's central government always attached great importance to nuclear safety, particularly after the 18th National Congress of CPC. President Xi proposed overall national security strategy and also the nuclear safety outlook. This year is 70th anniversary of founding New China, and it's also 5th anniversary of President Xi proposed nuclear safety outlook, and also it's 35th anniversary of the establishment of National Nuclear Safety Administration. So it's a very good time to strengthen both domestically and internationally confidence to China's nuclear safety condition.
So, Einar, do you agree that this is a politically timed thing to coincide with the anniversary, to coincide with what's happening in China at the moment, the sense of achievement that China has at the moment? Do you think that's why they've sent this out now? It's a message to the world, if you like?
Well, I think it's also a message to the internal audience. You know, obviously there are concerns about it. You've had Fukushima, you've had 3 Mile Island in the U.S. and things like this. So, you know, China wants to show where it's pegging in terms of best practices in the nuclear industry, and they've done that. But there's also, I think, another message here, and that is, quite frankly, with the turmoil in the Middle East and China's dependency on oil, this move towards electric cars and buses, which can, of course, use nuclear, is something that would be strategically very important. If the worst comes to worst, the Straits of Hormuz are bottled up. 80% of China's oil, imported oil, is now difficult to get at. So I think these are proactive and very prudent measures.
Liu Chong, other countries don't agree, though, do they? Germany, Switzerland, Spain, for instance, they're all either shutting down or they've banned the construction of new reactors. China is definitely going, it's bucking the trend, isn't it?
Yeah, you mentioned some certain category of countries who is abandoning nuclear energy, but there's also countries who insist developing and holding nuclear energy. I'll give you a number, like the P5 countries that we can see: United States, France, United Kingdom, all have nuclear energy share more than 50%. So 15%. So China is still lower than 5%. So nuclear energy is low carbon emission, and it's clean, and like Einar mentioned, and also nuclear energy is critical to the national energy security strategy. So that's why China is in developing nuclear energy.
Liu Senlin, I mean, you're the expert when it comes to nuclear energy. Compared with other forms of energy, what are the main advantages, do you think?
Yeah. As we all know, nuclear energy generation is characterized by its high efficiency, low carbon clearance, and safety. For example, during the operation of nuclear power plants, its greenhouse greenhouse emission is almost near zero, and it's far below that of new types of energy.
So it's clean, but Einar, is it safe?
Well, that's the real issue, and things have changed a lot. I mean, they could talk at great length about the advances in nuclear energy, these fast breeder ones. What do you do with spent fuel? Now they can reprocess it, and they have reactors can actually reprocess fuel as they're actually operating. So the technology is changing, and that means more opportunities. A lot of the reaction to nuclear in the West is based on the old, the first and second generation. And now you're at 2.5, and soon, hopefully, there'll be a 3.0 version of this. So when technology opens the door, that's the time to walk through it and not be guided just simply by fears. As long as it's safe, and I think that's what this white paper was about, talking about how safe it has been for China, then there's no point, no problem going through, especially on the strategic basis.
But you can't ignore the past, though. You can't ignore what happened in Fukushima, can you?
No, you can't. But you can't stop either. You can't say, well, something went wrong 1,000 years ago. The first guy who got on a wheel probably had a couple of dangerous incidents. But you don't stop. Progress isn't that way. You know, technology and innovation is all about coming up with the new things. I mean, ultimately, yes, it would be really nice if you didn't have to do fusion. You could go to fission. Fission would be absolutely clean, and it would be suffering. But they haven't quite figured it out. They're getting closer. They've actually had net amounts of energy that has been taken out of it. Fission is when you create a sustainable, like the sun, basically eating up the hydrogen and things like that. No bad things happening, and there's no outtakes. There's no radioactive half-life things being spun out. So ultimately, but until you get to that point, you have to advance the science, and I think that's what China is trying to advocate.
Einar, you've just explained nuclear fission in 45 seconds. You're a genius. That's fantastic.
No, they told me.
They told you.
Yeah.
Well, you did well. So, Liu Chong, how can China make a balance, do you think, between nuclear development and nuclear safety?
Yeah, I think China's nuclear safety and security strategy is based on China's philosophy and wisdom that you want to better develop nuclear energy, you have to make it safer. And a safer condition can also push forward nuclear energy development and finally benefit the society and the country.
I mean, Liu Senlin, China's reputation when it comes to nuclear safety is second to none, isn't it? I mean, according to this white paper, which was enacted in 9 administrative regions, issued over 30 sets of departmental rules, over 200 regulations have also been formulated, and no nuclear accidents have happened in China in the past decades, have they? The radiation environment monitoring data show radiation environment quality across the country is perfectly acceptable. It does seem that it's quite safe, doesn't it?
Yeah. About the safety levels, the different fields, different peoples, from different stakeholders. For my opinion, the China's safety level is around the highest level in all the world.
Einar, how about other countries' policies on nuclear power? Let's look at the US. If it is safe, and China is saying that it is safe, why does it remain so controversial in someone like the US?
Well, it's a matter of perception. As you said, something went wrong. Ooh, bad. You know, people don't really understand nuclear power, and they see these huge things. They watch movies where the terrorists are running in and blowing up the nuclear power plant. Let us put it this way. There's nothing involving a nuclear power plant that went well in a movie setting, okay? It's always, a tsunami. It's a horrible event is going to happen. So people are influenced by this. They see dangers. Say, not in my backyard and this type of thing. But in terms of other countries, first off, China's been certified 4 times by the IAEA. They've come in, the latest time was 2016. They gave it a clean bill of health. The U.S., coincidentally, about 17 hours ago, Donald Trump announced that the U.S. is going to have its own attempt at creating a white paper and a complete documentation of its process from where it gets its uranium and to how it's enriched and used and things like that, and then also how it's stored. This is long overdue, and it's kind of interesting that a country, the U.S., that has 100 reactors, China has currently about half that, 47, is just now hopping on the boat and saying, yes, we need to figure out exactly what we have and how we're using it and how safe it actually is.
Senlin, what happens then to waste? Because international reports are saying that China will reach its nuclear waste treatment capacity by 2020.
Yeah.
Is that true? And if that's true, how will China dispose of its nuclear waste after that?
Yeah. For general people, there are, in his memory, there are two kinds of waste. The first one is the spent fuel. It's for the technical opinion, it's not waste. It's a reusable material. Another one is some low-level and middle-level waste will be finally disposed in a repository. At the present, the Chinese government and the nuclear power plant organization have planning will be constructing some new on-site repository, on-site scale to storage.
Okay, last word to you, Einar, if you will. So we're basically saying that nuclear power is on the whole safe. There have been issues, but it's on the whole safe. It is on the whole clean, but we need to do more to persuade the public that it's acceptable. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. You're very wise. And so would these gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Liu Senlin from the China Institute of Atomic Energy and Dr. Liu Chong of the Institute of Arms Control and Security Studies, and of course the one and only Einar Tangen, who doesn't have such a big title but is very valued by us all. Well, after this break, is space the next big battle for world superpowers? Stay with us and find out.